Every journey begins with a simple act of care. For Quest to Unite Africa, that journey started with something simple: a mother, a newborn, and a promise that no life would be forgotten. We did not begin with buildings, we began with people. We packed mother newborn kits with our own hands, because real change starts where the need is greatest. Those kits traveled farther than we imagined, and they opened our eyes to a deeper truth. Aid saves lives, but infrastructure saves generations. So we grew. Together with donors, volunteers, and partners, we sent a medical container to Burkina Faso. Not just supplies, but hope. Not just boxes, but proof that when a community comes together, healing moves across borders. That moment changed us, because we realized something powerful. We weren't just delivering help, we were building a future. Now, the journey continues. The next chapter is bigger than a shipment, bigger than a campaign. We are raising funds to build a state-of-the-art hospital, a place where mothers can give birth safely, where families can find care close to home, and where communities can grow stronger for generations to come. This hospital is not just a structure, it's a promise. A promise that healthcare will no longer be temporary. A promise that dignity will have a permanent home. And just like every step before, we cannot do this alone. Every gift, every brick, every name placed on the founder path becomes part of a story that began with compassion and is growing into legacy. It helps us move from emergency aid to lasting healing, from containers to care that never leaves, from vision to reality. Join us, stand with us, help us build a hospital that will serve generations, moving healthcare into action. Visit q2ua.org today.
The Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com.
Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent.
Well, shalom, salama, Thiemi, shalom. Greetings to all of my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning. Oh, I'm feeling a lot more, I would say, more vibrant. I was kind of laughing and joking to myself. I said, well, Father, I said, when am I ever going to be able to get a vacation? I said, you know, you had Elijah in the cave for a minute. Right now, you have folks trying to have a vacation where they're in the cave, shut off, paying millions of dollars to be able to have the peace and quiet in a time where the peace and quiet isn't there anymore. At least there's no peace, even though they'll say that there's peace. Peace, peace, and then, you know, what is the old saying? The old adage? Peace, peace, and then here comes destruction. And during this quote unquote ceasefire that they tried to have some sort of peace, we could all understand that that was all a lie. Everybody was just gearing up to be able to go through and get all of their armaments in. There was a rapid logistics mission that was going on where you could tell the Air Force was on 1,000% with flights going through because obviously the shipping situation and the maritime situation was not going to be supported in the obvious war games scenario. So that had to be um, that had to be the new strategy. And now understand that today, in these wee hours, at these wee moments, um, supposedly, and I always say supposedly, there's going to be U.S. ships and Operation Freedom. And let me go back here before we go to Operation Freedom. I want to go back because a lot of things have happened to day 63 to right now, day 66. Because this is an ultimatum. This is a month ultimatum that Iran has given the United States. Now, my conjecture, I have stated that you would start to see military operations mid-May till about Memorial Day, and then Memorial Day is the start of June, and that's where you have two decision points. Either it gets real crazy, and the end device is utilized during a time where there's supposed to be patriotic fervor because you're coming across summertime and 4th of July, or you're at a decision point where the device is still utilized, but then the administration holds itself up because they have realized and recognized that they are the international pariah of the world. And that then grips the fear when so many countries all at once say either the administration is handed over, administration all of its titles, like literally either you suspend the government or we're going to come in and suspend the government. Because a lot of people don't understand that's an actual declaration. You got to realize that you don't just have a US in this. There is a European, there is an American, especially North American, continental American, i.e. Canadians and Mexicans, that have to think about that also because they don't want to have any type of reprisal nuclear fallout on any parts of their country or sovereign territory. So all of the ha 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 he games they that they're displaying, it isn't for us. We understand what this is going to lead to and the mechanisms of where it's going to lead to. Again, Iran did not start the war. Again, history will show that the U.S. and that Eastern Mediterranean nation declared an action, an illegal action, on a nation that they were afraid of and are fearful of, because as we have stated on this channel and many channels that understand the scripture, they were always fearful of that place. Whatever has spiritually represented that place, whether they are the Medes, Ararat, Mini, you name it. Whatever that confederation of Jeremiah 51, well, that's what Babylon's afraid of. And you have to understand when you're dealing with the spirit of feminine, right? They always say, what, the femininity and all this, because you're dealing with a feminine spirit here. The feminine war spirit of Anit, whatever you want to call it, however he wants to be represented, whatever the androgynous principality wants to represent themselves and how they represent themselves, that's it. So in order for a nation that understands, biblically speaking, where their time is going to be or how their time is going to be diminished, you also have to remember that nation is going to try everything that they can to stop what the Most High is doing. And all we're here to do is see how the calamitous thought process is going to play out. Nobody here has said anything regarding any type of governmental this or that. Matter of fact, we don't care. We've been agnostic. We don't care. Oh, you take away voting rights? Whatever. Oh, you signed a reparations bill for other folks? Whatever. I would say that these types of demonstrations have been the underlining issue of where we're at today, because everything that they're trying to do is to rouse us up. Let's get you riled up. Let's get you this. Let's get you that. Let's get you in a state where we could start to get your blood boiling. And by and large, we don't care. We've gotten over the trip to the most messed up place on earth. And we're not talking about Disney World. Don't you want to participate? Don't you want to be a clown? Don't you want to be a character? Don't you want to be a minstrel? And the answer is now no. No matter how they detain us for not being able to have $2 for a Subway MTA card over in New York. Sutphin Avenue. I think that's Queens, if I'm not mistaken. Sutphin. To traumatize a 2-year-old child with autism. They know what they're doing. But the funny thing is, the whole world now actually sees what's happening because there has been a UN resolution to it. How stupid can you be? The whole world sees what you're doing to black folks. Are you gonna stop? No. No, they're just gonna say, well, we're gonna continue to intensify it. Why is that? Because spiritually, they don't have much time left. And I've been saying this, but it's hard for people to truly understand this because they're going to tell you everything is fine. The stock market's good. Even though gas prices are rising, there's going to be another lie. We're going to get Operation Freedom up and going. Operation Freedom. See, here come gas prices are coming down. And Iran said, nope. Try it if you want to try it. Iran gave the ultimatum. This is what I'm talking about, the month ultimatum. The month ultimatum was delivered May 1st. The same time UAE left OPEC, the same time Spirit Airlines, that's Discount Airlines, kind of like the UK's version of Ryanair. But ASAP, I was trying to reach on out to you about that. He left yesterday. They up and they went bankrupt, belly up. And you now have articles coming out of why they needed Spirit Airlines, and All of these things happening. You're going to miss me when I'm gone. And remember, so they have here the only thing worse than Spirit Airlines is a world without Spirit Airlines. This is from the Atlantic.com by Sahil Desi. Spirit Airlines died as it lived. Lots of angry customers and no one picking up the phone. Early yesterday morning, when America's most hated airline announced that it would immediately cease all operations, Spirit left tens of thousands of passengers at airports across America scrambling to figure out what to do next. Some arrived to catch their flight, only to find deserted check-in kiosks plastered with a goodbye message. All Spirit flights have been canceled and customer service is no longer available. Do you understand? People done, they done got fired. That's from the Atlantic. This is why they had to scramble. This is what's going on. This is a scramble because when you have economic collapse reverberate in financial collapse, you now have issues going on worldwide, and that is only going to further economic fallout from the war. No, this wasn't a Biden thing. This was the war thing. Because this is as of yesterday. 2 missiles hit U.S. warship trying to enter Strait of Hormuz, Iranian news agency says. Now, here's the funny thing about this. This is by Tala Ramadan and Jacob Bogage. May 3rd. This is as of last night. Reporting from Doral, Dubai and Doral, or Doral. That's South Florida. Iran's Navy prevented American Zionist warships entering the Strait of Hormuz on Monday, state TV reported, while the Fars news agency said 2 missiles had hit a U.S. warship near Jask Island after it ignored Iranian warnings. Reuters could not independently verify the reports, and there was no immediate response from the United States. Iran had warned U.S. forces on Monday not to enter strategic waterway after President Donald Trump said the U.S. would guide out ships stranded in the Gulf by the U.S. Eastern Mediterranean nation war on Iran. I'm just saying, y'all see this, right? You can't make this up. Day 66 of the war. Do you know what that means? They're desperate. This is desperation because why? Because now economic fallout is getting ready to hit the United States. And when economic fallout hits the United States, those people that have been affected are now going to take their frustrations out on someone somewhere. Now, I'm going to tell you, they're the kings and queens of deflection. Well, if it hadn't been for these Negroes waking up and being in slumber and everything else, we wouldn't have gotten judged. This judgment is their fault. I'm waiting for that. What do you mean waking up? I want to be asleep. I want to be real asleep. Oh man, I want to be so dead to sleep. I didn't even put me back in the matrix. Too late for that. It was your Elohim. We were living comfortably. It was your Elohim. He did this to us. You know, the funny thing is, just as all the base damage had been revealed by satellite imagery, here's the thing. You don't think the Europeans have a space image or program for European satellite imagery? We covered that on this channel multiple times. Do you not think that the Europeans have seen the devastation of those bases? Remember the NATO mission that they pulled out from about a month ago in Iraq? Do you not think that they understand, oh, this place is going down? They don't want to go down with it. They're just trying to make sure that they softly get out of the grasp and the clutches of the United States, because they're not trying to be, quote unquote, self-deleted with 2 gunshots to the back of their head. They know what time it is. They're not dumb. Look, all the stuff that they used to support, and now it backfired on them. Congratulations. In the words of DJ Khaled, you just played yourself. See, you thought that the wickedness, oh, you can do wicked for so long. Oh, I can continue to do wicked. Oh, because I'll never, and now there you go. You fell into the trap of the Most High. Like we said, you better repent. And like I had said, I believe the only reason that Europe actually gets away, you got to remember when they said, look, that they throw down the harlot, they threw down the whore. There's a throwdown, not just economically, physically, mentally, but also spiritually. Hey, listen, we know that they're the people. We changed it. Why? Because what does it say? The knowledge of Yahuwah. The knowledge of Yahuwah. The glory of Yahuwah fills the whole earth. Oh boy. Do you think that they want to see that? No. They're trying their best to keep everybody on the team. Hey, look, we're going to do this. Look, we're going to do that. Everybody's like, nah, we're done with this. We're done. Scriptures are here. Prophecy's clear. We're standing up to do the do. That's what Iran has stated. We're standing up to do the do. Time to work. Iran's going to put in the work. Told you this is that Valley of Jehoshaphat moment. We've been saying it. Jacobus been saying it. It's that Joel 3 moment. It's that Obadiah. That's right, Sister Leela. Obadiah. It's that Jeremiah 50-51 moment. It's that Isaiah 60 moment. Why is that? Oh, well, you know, the ships of Tarshish. Because why? Because they empty. Why are they empty? Because they ain't got no oil. Well, if we send them back, then maybe the Most High will you know, be kind to us. Why is that? Because whenever things don't go their way, well, here comes another Inquisition moment. Brought to you by the dragon, brought to you by the beast, and now brought to you by the harlot. Now these Inquisition moments, they're now being captured and they're now being looked at because why? Again, we're a human trafficked people. I told you that. Do you see the abuse of a human trafficked people? Gee, that we can never rise, that there are unfair laws against us, that we are subjected to all of these human rights atrocities. Oh, see, that was the worst thing to happen that Ghana did. They set the trap. And because they set the trap, the U.S., they didn't care. They fell into that trap so hard. 6 New York Police Department officers for a person that said that she had the $2 to pay the subway ticket. But they wanted to just do harm and damage because they wanted to continue their abuse. And here's the thing, even though I'm praying for our sister and her child, I thank the Most High that that was captured. I thank the Most High that that man that was captured in the footage put that on out there, and he said, look at how racist this is. Said this isn't right. This is racism at its finest. Because good. I pray that they utilize all the footage and video evidence, that they're collecting all of these human rights violations, and that they then are putting it and submitting it to the Hague and whatever authorities right now as we speak. That's what I'm praying. I'm praying that Yah's will be done. For his people very soon. Because here's the thing, they ain't got no sense. Why? We've been given to a foolish and senseless nation. Hey, listen up, fools. That little vote, that indictment was against y'all. You better stop, or at least try to act like you're stopping while the heat is still on you. They can't do it. They can't do it. It's hilarious because no, they can't. They cannot do it. Just like with this ultimatum. All right, you got 30 days. We already knew that in 30 days. It was a slow buildup. And again, you're not going to hear that these ships are being fired on. You won't hear that if a U.S. warship gets sunk, you will not hear it. You want to know why? You won't hear it from the West. You may hear it from Russia. You definitely will hear it from Russia. You'll definitely hear it from China, but not from anything out in the West. Nope. They could sink a whole fleet. You wouldn't hear it. So I do tell people, listen, buckle up, because this ride is getting ready to go into overdrive. And it's not to have an exaggerative or hyperbolic statement, but it's truthful. The oil manipulation game could only work so much. This is why this is pure desperation to go into the strait that they cannot manage And this is why you have these things on Truth Social from Trump. We have told these countries that we will guide their ships safely out of the restricted waterways so they can freely and ably get on with their business. Yeah, okay. Iran says, we have repeatedly said the security of the Strait of Hormuz is in our hands and that safe passage of vessels needs to be coordinated with the armed forces. And that's the armed forces of Iran. Because they're trying to tell America, you're not running anything. So, again, so much for the ceasefire. I already told you that ceasefire was a farce. I said that. A unilateral ceasefire? Come on. If anybody believed that, well, let's just say that their analytical skills were very, very underdeveloped. I have to be nice. I got to use those nice, kind words. I can't say slowed or regressed or other thing. It's underdeveloped. That they need to have a little bit more understanding or you know, brain challenge. So now here it is. And you know what's so cold about that 30-day ultimatum? As soon as they released that 30-day ultimatum, Trump had to respond with Operation Freedom. Here's the reality of this. They're not in the driver's seat. When you are having to now respond, you're actually losing because you're now having to react to what's being thrown at you. That's not any type of pugilist, any type of combatant or martial arts or other combat strike sport activity. If you are sparring with anyone in any capacity where jabs are coming your way, you know that a jab is coming. But if you can't dictate the jab and the pace of the jab and the location of the jab of where you want them to target, then you will lose. Because these counter punches, oh, I'm a counter puncher, blah, blah, blah. That's a lie. When you have to start reacting to the swings, you then start to leave your guard open. And when you start to leave your guard open, that's when you're going to get knocked out. America is getting set up for a Mike Tyson-esque knockout. That's what's happening. Okay, you want to get all these people in the region? All right. Do you understand how crazy that is? But that's why they couldn't release the photos, and that's why that's why I said you're I understand the propaganda videos from the Legos and everything else. That's not going to happen. You have a people that have been brainwashed as part of their indoctrination cultural experience. The cultural experience of the United States, especially for the dominant society, has been built on white supremacy. White supremacy is a spiritual doctrine that they are right. And let me just tell you, It's white makes right. Anybody or anything else or any other, I would say deviation or variation of melanin structures that's not recognized within their variant of acceptable whiteness, then based on their, this is their theological approach, they are not allowed to lose against an inferior product in their eyes. I'm just giving you the truth. If you get mad if you want to debate, get mad, hey, I'm just giving you the truth. I'm telling you how this thing works. I'm not telling you how it works. I'm seeing and observing what it is that they've stated. This comes from their mouths. All these folks, these Richard Spence and everybody else that had, amazingly they're quiet because why? Because their doctrine is in force. Their brand of thinking is now the mainstream. And now their brand of thinking has now started to cost the United States economically. We told you white supremacy is expensive. And it becomes more and more expensive when other countries don't play along with the white supremacy game, i.e., that's what's happened. And that's what's happening right now. Don't get it twisted. There are other ships that are able to get through the blockade when they pay Iran the toll. And then they go through their route. They sell through with Pakistan. They get over to India, and then they're out of the area. Oh, and do not get it twisted. The U.S. isn't the only one that's getting ready to do their naval escort operations. Well, you already know Russia and China are on their way too. Yeah, this is a real gaggle. And unfortunately, yes, we're going to feel some of the impacts. We will. But it's not the fact that we weren't ready for this. I think, to be honest, we've been ready. We've been the most practical. And now, obviously, for the most part, we're stuck in this. If you're able to up and leave, hallelujah. I'm not mad at you. Hallelujah. For those of us that are going to be here to see everything go down, I just tell our people, hey, brace yourselves. Brace for impact. Put on them spiritual life jackets. Get to them spiritual. Them spiritual lifeboats. Get them spiritual whistles. Because you see a lot of man overboards as this system is sinking. It's not just collapsing, it's sinking. I have never seen so many videos regarding the upcoming famine, the upcoming famine. Well, what are they doing? They're preparing you for famine. They don't say that just because it's altruistic and it's this and that. No, they're telling you. No, people are getting ready to starve. Why? Because 70% of the fertilizer, especially in this planting season, you only have about 3 more weeks of this planting season and it's gone. You only have in the planting season from about late March to, I believe, in about another 2, 3 weeks, especially in the Northeast. Yeah, everything's supposed to be in the ground like right now. If I had Sister Ashley on here, she would let you know. Yeah, you have this, this, and this. So with Sister Nisa and Sister Coco, they would let you know. Yeah, these are the times. These are the zones. These are the planting seasons. In Florida, I can plant whatever I want. It's Florida. That's the blessing. For folks up in the Midwest, when you start to get into those temporal areas, those temporal zones of when you can plant, yeah, you need to be planting right now. I remember when I lived in New Jersey, I lived on a couple acres. And my grandmother would let people farm the acres. It was always farmed. I remember this. It was always farmed right after Easter. Literally by June, you already had the rows that were already dug up. And then by about late June, you had the sprouts coming up for the corn. July, then August, they shoot on up by late August. You're harvesting by September. The crops are going brown. And then you're taking out the stalks by about late September, October, and retilling the ground to get it ready for next season. The things that you experience as a child, you don't really think about it or consider it until you're, later in life. Yeah, you got to get your seeds in the ground like literally today. Now, again, I'm not a farmer, but that's why they have the farmers' almanacs. So okay, this is the latest of the latest time. That's why they'll have the little Home Depot and those commercials. Get your seeds, plant your little garden, and things of that nature. Yeah, this is the time if you have a community garden. Yeah, you may want to organize one. So, not to not to get people scared. Don't be scared, but to get you aware of different things. Yeah, there are water shortages. That's the crazy thing about this planting season. Water shortages because of droughts. America's in a really interesting drought. Yeah, VA is colder than normal. We're literally talking. This is the first week of May. It shouldn't be like this cold. It's kind of a little nippy here where I'm at in Tampa. So you see what's ended up happening. This land isn't even cooperating with the farming season. Now you know. Now you can understand how the Most High's judgment works. Like, man, everyone's crops had failed except for them Israelite crops. Supposed to be coming back like, I don't know, but man, my stuff was looking like a jungle with all the fruits and vegetables that had been going on. I got so much fruit, I don't even know what to do. I kept handing it away to my neighbors. You know what I'm talking about? Just had them paper bags for days. Like, here, you get that to there, you get that to here, you go get that to them. That's what my grandmother used to do. Because we'd be on out there picking for days. Here, run that down the street. Give them this, give them that. We didn't have a food stand or anything like that, but we did that for our neighbors just to bless our neighbors. That's what that's what we would do. The way that I grew up, it was like this. The Most High's going to bless you for being a blessing to others. That's just how that works. Oh, right now I believe Georgia is still on fire because so the cold front went through, but I don't think it went through in a manner to where it doused a lot of like the fires. It's still dry. Like even when the rain came down in my neck of the woods, the ground is still dry. I'm like, wow, it's crazy. Like I had said, these folks have hardened their hearts to the point that it's over. You know, and that's why when people had stated about debating, I said, look, I had been done with debating. I had been done with, you know, um trying to explain things to people. Well, you know, it's this, it's that. I had been I was done with that. Because for one, the Most High was already kind of giving me the understanding, look, it's over with. And then what ended up happening about 6 months later, here we are. And matter of fact, it was actually last year around this time, we were like, hey, it's over with. If they don't know by this time, they don't know. And then it was June of last year that they started. And now here we are. They ramped back up in late February, early March. And see, let me tell you, Iran, they're not fools. They're not, oh, well, can we open up the diplomatic channels? And do you understand what's happening? All of the lies that used to work for the United States, they were good at lies. They were good at lies, and they're good. Let me just tell you what you want to hear, and and well, I didn't really say it like this. Well, I didn't really say it like that. Well, I didn't really. Those days are over with because now every other country is trying to realize, oh crap, we got lied to too. So what happens when you've overplayed your hand? Well, Nobody's going to come to your rescue. And the only reason that the UK is coming to the help of the United States is because the UK and the United States economy is in it together. But at the end of the day, when that oil is not flowing and those ships aren't making their transatlantic voyages like they used to, the UK is going to cut off the United States because the UK will be cut off from France and all of the other mainland Europe. They're the only, like, if you think about it in terms of the white supremacy hierarchical structure, it's a governmental structure. It's an international structure. Don't get it twisted. You just had pillars of that structure. In my opinion, France was a pillar, but they weren't the pillar, right? Spain was a pillar, but it wasn't the pillar. There's a rack and stack to that. Why do you think Spain has basically said, nah, forget it? Which is why Trump wants to pull troops in Italy, Spain, and Germany. All of this stuff matters. It all counts. If you don't understand how the system works. But again, do you think that the Spanish realize what's happening and that they don't want to have any parts? Oh, they absolutely do realize what's happening. I think people forget that right after the Spanish Inquisition was the bubonic plague. They got hit with plagues. And now you're starting to see things happening here. Look, do you know how many plagues that they have here in the United States? They're not trying to tell you it. Remember, that's why they're shutting down the CDC. That's why they're hiding things. Look, this is going to be the most hidden, revealing judgment ever. Yes, America has been hit with so many plagues, you probably can't even count. Because what would end up happening? I believe a lot of people would end up repenting. That's my opinion. If they knew the truth. But I also do believe that a lot of people, even if they knew the truth, they wouldn't end up repenting. Matter of fact, they'll say, well, you want to know what? I guess I perish then. That's what they would choose. I didn't say it. That's what they've said. Well, if I do actually have to serve a black messiah, I guess I'm going to hell. For real? But I thought it was never about skin color. What does the word say? They honor me with their lips, but what? Their hearts are far from me. Told you. This is to see how our ancestors were. If you don't understand this, that's why, look, understand the judgment that they're going through, because it's not just about, oh, well, it's just about white supremacy and it's about this and about that. No. It's a little bit more than that. This is truthfully regarding how we as a people had acted before we went into captivity. You can't learn your lesson until you see all of the lesson. This is it. So this is the month ultimatum, or the ultimatum month, however you want to you choose to think about it. But it looks as though we're starting to see things ramping up, whether they want to admit it or not. But with that said, I got to get up on out of here, family. Thank you for your prayers, your support. I got a busy week ahead of me to get some things done in the background that I pray for Yah's favor, and that he continues to renew my strength. Hallelujah. And also, yes, continue to keep me up in prayer. I'm trying to finish up this doctorate, get this dissertation accepted, and then defend this bad boy, and then go from there. That's another one off of me. But just when you think you're finished, they pull you back in. No, I thank the Most High for this journey. This has been a great journey. It's been tough, but it's actually been good when you think about all the things that he does for you. All right, family. So with that said, with that, Most High willing, I'll see you tomorrow. And I think we are definitely on that timeline, as I had stated, mid-May. We're at the 70. We're getting ready to be at that 75 to 90-day window. So with that said, family, Most High willing, I'll see you tomorrow. And with that, shalom, salama, siyemi, shalom, peace and blessings. Yasharel.